He was my boss, older, powerful, married. I knew it was wrong from the start, but that night, that door should have stayed closed. It was barely 2 months since Nora joined Lawson Tech, one of Lagos's biggest marketing firms. Every morning she'd get to the office before sunrise, making coffee for the team, arranging files, fixing presentations no one else wanted to touch. She was the kind of employee who believed hard work would protect her, until she learned that sometimes it's what makes them notice you. Mr. Lawson wasn't the kind of man anyone ignored. His presence filled a room before his voice did. His suit was always perfect, his words measured, and his eyes sharp, unreadable. When he called Nora into his office for the first time, she thought it was for her performance report. Instead, he asked about her life, her ambitions, her dreams. He listened too closely, smiled too warmly. "You're different, Miss Nora," he said, his voice smooth like expensive whiskey. "You remind me of someone I used to admire." From that day he started calling her more often, to review presentations, discuss strategy, even personal dinners disguised as work meetings. People whispered, but she ignored them. She told herself he was just mentoring her. Until one evening when everyone had left, and she was still in his office finalizing a proposal. The rain outside was heavy, the kind that made the city lights blur like melted gold. Mr. Lawson stood by the window, watching silently. "You work too hard," he said softly. "Do you ever do anything for yourself?" Nora smiled nervously. "I guess success is my reward." He turned to face her. "Then let me reward you myself." Before she could speak, he walked closer, slow, deliberate, like a man who'd already decided what was about to happen. Her heart pounded. His hand brushed her cheek, testing her reaction. She froze, not out of fear but confusion. He smelled of power, danger, and something she hadn't felt in a long time, desire. "This isn't right, sir," she whispered, but her voice trembled. "Then tell me to stop," he murmured, lips inches from hers. He didn't. That night became their secret, their sin. Every time he said, "Close the door," she felt her breath hitch. Every time his hand brushed hers, she forgot the sound of her own conscience. He told her she made him feel alive again, and she believed it. But what Nora didn't know was that someone else had already seen them that night. Someone who would soon turn their secret into a weapon. Looking back now, her voiceover confesses, "I should have run the moment he said my name. But instead I fell, and dragged my heart straight into his trap. When the guilt got too loud to silence, I found comfort in someone who didn't even know my name, or so I thought." It started innocently. Nora had joined an online career forum to network, maybe distract herself from the shame of her growing secret with Mr. Lawson. Each day she felt herself split in two, the confident assistant who smiled in board meetings, and the trembling woman who stayed late because her boss wanted her alone. One night, after another stolen kiss in the office, she couldn't sleep. She opened her laptop, scrolling through messages on a marketing forum where professionals shared ideas. That was when a user named Dan Kells sent her a message. "You write with so much passion. Are you always this serious about your work?" She hesitated before replying. "Maybe I just need something to focus on." He was funny, charming, and strangely understanding. They talked about everything: music, ambition, late-night cravings, and even the loneliness that came with pretending to be fine. She never shared personal details, but somehow he always seemed to know how she felt. "You sound like someone who's carrying too much," he wrote one night. "Maybe," she typed back, "but at least you don't judge me." "I don't have to know your story to understand your silence," he replied. That line stayed with her. Felt like warmth in a cold place. Meanwhile, at work, Mr. Lawson's attention became bolder. He started calling her Nora instead of Miss Johnson. He'd brush her arm in meetings, whisper praise too personal for the setting. Once, he even left a box of jewelry on her desk. No note, no explanation, just a reminder that he could. But every gift felt heavier than the last. Every glance carried a fear that someone might see. And someone almost did. One morning as she entered his office, his secretary gave her a knowing look and whispered, "Careful, dear. The walls in this place talk." That night, shaken and restless, she texted Dan Kells again. "Do you believe people can make mistakes for the right reasons?" "That depends," he replied. "Are they mistakes or choices you're too scared to own?" Nora paused. Her heart thudded. She wanted to tell him everything, about the affair, the guilt, the lies, but she couldn't. So she wrote, "Sometimes the person who saves you is also the one who ruins you." He sent a final message before she logged off. "Then maybe it's time you meet someone who wants to save you for real." Nora smiled faintly, unaware that the man behind the screen wasn't just reading her words. He was watching her life. Because Dan Kells wasn't a stranger. He was Daniel Lawson, the boss's son. "I thought I'd found someone who saw my soul," her voiceover whispers. "But he saw my secrets instead. I thought he was just a name behind a screen. But the night our eyes met, I realized my secret wasn't mine anymore." The annual Lawson Tech Gala was the company's grandest event. Gold decor, flashing cameras, laughter that hid secrets in champagne glasses. Nora wore a simple black dress, elegant but quiet, hoping to blend in. After all, she didn't want to draw attention. Not with Mr. Lawson's wife attending for the first time in months. The CEO had warned her. "Tonight you're just my assistant. Nothing more. Nothing less." His words stung. She had risked everything for him, her job, her dignity, her peace. But in public she was invisible. Still she smiled, nodding, pretending her heart wasn't breaking. Halfway through the night, she stepped out onto the balcony to breathe. Lagos glittered beneath her, lights blinking like secrets trying to escape the dark. She typed a message to Dan Kells, the only person who made her feel seen. "Big night. Everyone looks rich and fake." He replied instantly. "Then you must be glowing among them." She laughed softly, replying, "You have a way with words, you know." "Maybe because I've been reading yours for months," he wrote. "Maybe because I already know you." Before she could ask what he meant, a voice behind her said, "Nora Johnson." He turned. A tall man stood there, sharp suit, familiar voice, warm brown eyes that held a strange mix of confidence and danger. "I'm Daniel Lawson," he said, extending his hand. "We've never met officially, but I've heard quite a lot about you." Her phone buzzed. A new message from Dan Kells. "Turn around." Her heart froze. The phone slipped from her hand. You're Dan Kells," she whispered. He smiled, not innocent, not kind. Surprised. The world tilted. Every conversation, every word he'd typed flashed before her eyes. All this time, she'd been confiding in her boss's son. "Why?" she managed to breathe. He leaned closer, voice low and unsettlingly calm. "Because I wanted to know what kind of woman could make my father forget his family. His company, his pride." Her stomach twisted. "You knew." "Oh, I knew everything," he said. "I just didn't know I'd end up wanting you too." The air thickened. Music echoed faintly from the ballroom, but out there on the balcony, only silence screamed between them. His gaze burned through her like confession and judgment combined. "You shouldn't play this game, Daniel," she whispered. "Someone will get hurt." "Someone already has," he said softly. "You just don't know who yet." That night, Nora left the gala shaken, by guilt, by fear, and by the realization that she'd become the center of a war between two men who shared not just blood, but darkness. That was the night everything started to fall apart, her voiceover confesses. "I went looking for comfort, and found the devil with a different face." You know that feeling when two storms are headed your way, and you're standing right in the middle? That was me, the calm in their chaos, until they both wanted to claim the silence. The morning after the gala, Nora could barely look Mr. Lawson in the eye. His voice was the same, his authority untouched, but something had shifted. His usual smirk felt heavier, his gaze sharper. He knew something was off. "Did you enjoy yourself last night?" he asked, flipping through her presentation notes without really reading them. She swallowed. It was fine. Fine. He looked up. You spoke with my son, didn't you? Nora froze. Just briefly. He introduced himself. Mr. Lawson's eyes narrowed. Daniel likes to introduce himself to things that don't belong to him. He leaned forward, voice low and deliberate. Be careful with him. He's not like me. You're right, she said before she could stop herself. He listens. Silence. His jaw tightened. When she tried to walk away, his hand caught her wrist, firm, possessive. Don't test me, Nora, he said, eyes cold. You work for me. Remember that. That night she cried. Not from fear, but from the realization that what she once called love had turned into control. And still, she couldn't walk away. Not yet. Later, her phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. Does he still treat you like property? She hesitated, then replied. You wouldn't understand. Try me. I've watched him ruin people for less. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Why are you doing this, Daniel? His reply came seconds later. Because I hate him. And because I'm starting to hate how much I want you. She dropped the phone. Her heart raced. Fear, guilt, curiosity. The next day at the office, she felt his presence before she saw him. Daniel was there for a meeting, confident, composed. But when their eyes met across the boardroom, the air changed. After the meeting, he followed her to the elevator. You don't have to let him own you, he said quietly. And you, she whispered. You want to save me or use me. Maybe both. The elevator doors closed, trapping them in charged silence. His hand brushed hers, light, fleeting, deliberate. When the doors opened, Mr. Lawson was standing there, watching. His expression didn't change, but his tone did. Nora, my office. Now. Daniel smirked. Careful, Dad. You wouldn't want to embarrass yourself in front of your staff. Mr. Lawson's eyes darkened, rage disguised as calm. You've always had your mother's mouth, he said through clenched teeth. That night, Nora understood something terrifying. She was no longer a secret affair. She was a weapon, and both men were loading their triggers. I thought love was the sin I was hiding, her voiceover whispers. But it wasn't love at all. It was war, and I was the prize. When a powerful man feels you slipping away, he doesn't beg you to stay. He reminds you who owns the floor you're standing on. The next morning, Nora entered the office to find her desk cleared. Files gone. Laptop missing. Even her access card beeped red when she tried to log in. Mr. Lawson stood at the end of the corridor, calm, collected, sipping coffee like nothing was wrong. Good morning, Miss Johnson, he said, loud enough for others to hear. Please see HR before you continue working on any assignments. That was humiliation wrapped in protocol. Inside the HR office, she was told she'd been temporarily reassigned, stripped of her role as personal assistant and moved to a lower department under supervision. No reason given. No explanation needed. Just silence that screamed punishment. Her stomach sank. She knew why. Daniel. That afternoon, she texted him. He's punishing me. Congratulations. You've started your little war. He replied, then let me help you fight it. But she didn't want help. She wanted peace. Later that day, while carrying files to her new corner desk, she saw Mr. Lawson watching her from his glass office. His expression unreadable, his jaw tight. When their eyes met, he mouthed a single word, mine. She felt both fury and weakness flood through her. By evening, Daniel was waiting outside the building in his car. She didn't want to get in. She told herself she wouldn't. But when the sky opened up with sudden rain, and he stepped out holding an umbrella, she broke her own promise. Inside the car, silence lingered before he spoke. He's breaking you on purpose, Daniel said quietly. It's what he does. He makes people feel small so he can feel powerful. And you? She asked bitterly. What do you make people feel? Seen, he said. Even when they hate it. For the first time he reached for her hand. His touch was warm, protective, not demanding like his father's. She didn't pull away. "You don't know what you're doing," she whispered. "I do," he said. "I'm falling for you." She turned to him, eyes wet, voice trembling. "You sound just like him when he started." His face changed, not hurt but realization. "Then maybe you should stop pretending you're innocent in this too." The words cut deep. 'Cause he was right. That night, back in her apartment, she stared at her reflection, torn between two men, one who wanted to own her, and one who wanted to save her but was slowly turning into what he hated. "I used to think love was supposed to heal," her voiceover whispers. "But maybe in their world, love only burns, and I was already on fire. He told me he wanted to protect me. But when men like Daniel say protect, they really mean use." The days after her demotion felt endless. The whispers in the office got louder, and the looks she received followed her like shadows. Nora learned to smile through them, but inside she was drowning. Then Daniel returned. Not as the charming stranger behind a screen, but as the new head of digital operations, a position almost equal to his father's. His first move was simple but bold. He reinstated Nora. "You're back on the executive team," he said, sliding the letter across her desk. "He'll see this as rebellion," she whispered. "Good," he replied. "I'm done pretending I'm his son." That night, she found herself in his office, long after everyone had gone home. Papers scattered across the desk, tension thick in the air. Daniel wasn't smiling this time. "You think I just came back to work here?" he said quietly. "I'm here to expose him, every shady deal, every hidden account. I want the board to see the man behind the charm." "And me?" she asked softly. "Where do I fit in all this?" "You're the proof," he said. "You're what he threw away to keep his empire standing." Her pulse quickened. "Daniel, that's not protection, that's revenge." He met her gaze. "Sometimes they're the same thing." He showed her documents. Hidden contracts, false reports, things that could end Mr. Lawson's career in a single leak. He needed someone on the inside to confirm them. Someone close. "You want me to spy on him?" she said in disbelief. "I want you to end him," he replied. For the first time, Nora saw Daniel's darkness. It wasn't loud like his father's, it was quiet, calculated, intoxicating. He was dangerous, but in a way that made her heart ache instead of tremble. She refused that night. But the next morning when she arrived at work, Mr. Lawson summoned her to his office. He didn't speak, just placed a sealed envelope in front of her. Inside were photos, her and Daniel in his car, her hand on Daniel's arm, her smile reflected in his rearview mirror. "You think you can humiliate me," he said coldly. "You're a mistake I regret making." He dismissed her like a stain. No emotion, no memory, just disgust. That evening she went back to Daniel's office and said quietly, "Tell me what you need me to do." "I don't want you to do anything you'll regret," he said, watching her closely. "I already regret everything," she replied. "So let's finish this." He smiled faintly, victory and heartbreak sharing the same face. "Then welcome to the war, Nora. That was the night I crossed a line I couldn't come back from," her voiceover whispers. "I stopped being the woman they broke, and became the weapon they created. You can't play two devils against each other and expect to walk away clean. One will burn you. The other will watch you burn." For days, the company pulsed with quiet chaos. Anonymous leaks had started spreading, confidential emails, secret contracts, whispers of corruption at the top. The boardroom turned into a battlefield, and every glance carried suspicion. Nora watched it all unfold from her desk, her chest tight with dread. She had done it, slipped Daniel the files Mr. Lawson hid in his private drive. She told herself it was justice, but the guilt felt heavier than freedom. Then the storm hit. That Monday morning, security escorted Mr. Lawson out of his office. The board had suspended him pending investigation. Cameras flashed. Employees whispered. Daniel stood by the glass, arms folded. His expression unreadable. When their eyes met, Nora saw no victory, just vengeance. Later, she found him in his office, staring at the city skyline. "It's done," she said quietly. "It's only beginning," he murmured. "They'll drag him through the press, strip his name from the company. I told you, I don't play small." She shook her head. "You said you wanted to protect me, Daniel. You didn't protect me. You used me to destroy your father." He turned, voice colder than his father's ever was. "You think he didn't use you first? You were his entertainment, Nora. I just gave your pain a purpose." The truth cut deeper than betrayal. She realized she wasn't the savior or the victim. She was the weapon both men used to hurt each other. That evening, she went to Mr. Lawson's mansion. The guards had been dismissed. The house was dark except for a single lamp in his study. He looked older, defeated, yet there was still a fire in his eyes when he saw her. "You," he said bitterly. "My downfall wearing red lipstick." "I never meant to ruin you," she whispered. "Then why did you hand me to my son?" Tears burned her eyes. "Because you already broke me long before he did." He laughed quietly, standing. "You think Daniel's any different? You've just helped him become me." For a moment she saw the truth in his eyes. Not love, not hate, just recognition. He had created his son in his own image. And she was standing between them, bleeding from both sides. Daniel arrived moments later. The air crackled as father and son faced each other. No board, no cameras, no masks. "You wanted to destroy me, Daniel," Mr. Lawson said. "Congratulations. But don't forget, you used the same woman I did." "No," Daniel said quietly. "I loved her. You loved the idea of punishing me through her." Nora stepped back, tears falling freely now. "Stop it, both of you," she cried. "You're not fighting for love. You're fighting for your egos." Neither man moved. The silence stretched, sharp and endless. "That was the night I finally understood," her voiceover says softly. "I wasn't torn between two loves. I was trapped between two men who only loved themselves." She walked out, leaving both of them standing in the ruins they'd built, one broken, the other hollow. They both thought they'd ruined me. What they didn't know was that they'd built me instead. It had been 6 months since the night Nora walked away from the Lawsons. From the office, from the scandal, from everything that had once defined her. She vanished without a word, leaving the company's corridors buzzing with rumors and regrets. But while they tore each other apart in boardrooms and courtrooms, she rebuilt herself quietly, piece by piece. The woman who once fetched coffee now owned a brand consultancy firm that was fast becoming one of Lagos's most sought after. She named it Rebirth Studios. Its slogan was simple, powerful. "We don't fix your image. We redefine it." And every time she signed a client contract, she remembered the way Mr. Lawson used to say, "You work for me." Now she smiled, thinking, "No, I work for myself." One evening, she received a call from an unknown number. "Miss Johnson," the voice said, familiar, calm. It was Daniel. "You disappeared," he said quietly. "I've been looking for you." "You didn't look hard enough," she replied. "The company's gone. The board forced him out. He's not the same." "Neither am I." There was silence. Then his voice softened. "Do you ever think about me?" Nora paused, her tone steady. "Every time I remember how easy it is to confuse love with revenge." He exhaled, defeated. "I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. And the worst part is, you enjoyed it while calling it justice." Before he could respond, she ended the call. 2 days later, Forbes Africa released a special feature titled, "The Women Redefining Corporate Lagos." Nora's face graced the cover. Confident, radiant, unbroken. Across town, Daniel stared at the magazine in silence. His father sat across from him, older, tired, watching the same headline. "She's remarkable," Daniel murmured. "No," Mr. Lawson said. "She's dangerous because we taught her how power feels." He closed the magazine, his reflection caught in the glass. And now, she's the only one who knows how to use it better than both of us. Final scene voiceover. I thought I was trapped between two men, one who wanted to own me, and another who wanted to avenge me. But I was wrong. I wasn't their weakness. I was the lesson they never saw coming. She looks out from her office window, the city lights glowing beneath her like a promise reborn. Some women are broken by love. Others build empires from the pieces.